Ladies and gentlemen, we often cover the New World Order. And there are very few times in covering the New World Order do we actually get to find undeniable evidence of the connections. I mean, let me say this real quick. We all know, who are in the truth movement, that the United Nations is a communist organization. It's an organization which is totally trying to build the New World Order. However, trying to use their information, their documents, and so on and so, their everything, to prove their connections to communism, to the New World Order, oftentimes it proves a bit tricky and tough and so on and so forth. Even though, as of late, and I mean going back just a few years, the evidence is beyond measure. This particular post that we've just released on freedomfightertimes.com, it just showcases the New World Order being built by the United Nations. And it also showcases the communist connection. It also showcases what was taking place during World War II, after World War II, the Cold War, and past that. And where they're getting their ideology from. The United Nations just officially announced a global communist takeover. The New World Order reconvenes. A long-held conspiracy theory, yet again, gets proven true. The UN, at the 71st regular session, has aggregated the role of the United Nations in promoting a new global human order into their agenda. In other words, a new world order into their agenda. In addition to the aforementioned, under Section A, titled Promotion of Sustained Economic Growth and Sustainable Development, in accordance with the relevant resolutions of the General Assembly and the recent United Nations conferences, is also the plan for total globalization and interdependence. Do you know what that means? That means no more national borders, no more national sovereignty. That means a centralized governance. That means that under sustainable development, they are building the New World Order. And you want to know what your proof is? Right here. All these documents pertain to building the New World Order. As you can see under Section B, under Section A, and of course I've actually got the URLs where you can go to for looking up the actual documents. If these, this is a Google preview, and oftentimes it doesn't work when we're getting a lot of, when something goes viral, put it that way. So that's why I've also put the download links as well as where you can actually see it on the UN site. Let me show you what I'm talking about real quick here. This is on their website. Just in case they want to get tricky with it, we have it. We have plenty of backups. I mean, under the allocation of agenda items, let me continue. Under the allocation of agenda items resides the declaration of a formation of a new global human order, adopted by the General Assembly at its second plenary meeting on September 16, 2016. The official adoption of such ideology brings to light the global conspiracy against humanity to form a new world order, as mentioned by the world leaders and select government officials. Now, I want to state something really quickly here. Oftentimes, we get called the conspiracy theorists. Ladies and gentlemen, you have it backwards. They flipped it around. They have the conspiracy against humanity, not us. We only seek to bring to light the evil and the darkness that they are bringing about. You can call me crazy. You can say whatever you want to. You can call Freedom Fighter Times crazy. You can, whatever. But the evidence that we have against them, time and time again, you cannot call it crazy. And to do so is dismissive. It shows your lack of understanding and lack of ability to just read documents. To read. It is insane to think that we can trust the United Nations. It is insane to think that the United Nations has any agenda that is for humanity. It is all against humanity. It is for total enslavement. It is about a communist takeover, because that's where they're getting their ideology and their agenda from, is communism. Contained within the Global Sustainable Development Goals, or Global Goals, is the practical declaration of war against the common man. Conceived originally on November 29th, 2000, year 2000. This is not brand new. and adopted by the General Assembly at the 74th plenary meeting is the role of the United Nations in promoting a new global human order. This resolution has just been crafted back into the global agenda for the United Nations on the 16th of September, 2016. And if we keep going, we find even more, ladies and gentlemen. Tied directly to the Sustainable Development Goals is the plan for a new world order, meaning that in September 2015, when the global goals were adopted, so was the official declaration and adoption of the agenda for a new world order. Secondly, in addition to the adoption of a new global human order to their agenda for the 2016 year, is the plan to revoke the need for national borders and national sovereignty. Under Section 21, interesting, is the further adoption of interdependency and globalization. As we can see here, there's more documents. A role of the United Nations in promoting development in the context of globalization and interdependence. International migration and development. And of course, there's more documents there. Now, where in the world did the New World Order, or I'm trying to find the exact name of it so I can give it to you. New Global Human Order. This is what they're calling it. Notice how it's not world, it's New Global Human Order. It's the New Global Order, ladies and gentlemen. They just added human in there. It's the same word, same thing. It is coming from a communist. And that communist name, the person who's practically came up with all this, a well-known communist, got his ideas passed into the UN General Assembly, and they were just reinforced this year. Chetai Jagan, the fourth president, Guyana, was a known communist who created the proposal for a new global human order that was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly on November 14th, 2002. Communism is behind the push for the New World Order. So any kind of nice little words that they're saying, peace and we can all be equal and so on and so forth, about economy, anything about that, it's coming from a communist perspective. It's not coming from a real equal standpoint. It's coming from communism. This is how we connected it, the UN directly to communism, is through this guy, Chetai Jagan. This guy has a very interesting past. Chetai Jagan's communist past. Winston Churchill was alarmed by Jagan's unabashed Marxism-Leninism and was convinced Jagan could allow the Soviet Union a foothold in Latin America. He also had ties to the Soviet Union. Oh, but wait a minute. Wasn't the Soviet Union responsible for how many murders? How does that exactly mean equality? There was strong behind-the-scenes pressure from the U.S., and the CIA asserted that he had ties to the Soviet Union. This prompted a British military intervention only days after his election. Jagan resigned as chief minister after 133 days. Jagan's vision for a new global human order was inspired by a vision. You know who else had a vision? Albert Pike, when he wrote his letter to Maziani about the 3 world wars, as we've covered previously. You can find all of this information and more on our website, freedomfightertimes.com. You know, the last time we did a big post on the UN like this, it was about the small arms treaty, I think that's what it's called, for the UN. It's about disarmament for Americans. And our YouTube channel got shut down the next day. The original Freedom Fighters got shut down after we posted something about it. So
vamos acordar, porque o sol não espera. Demorou, vamos acordar.